I remember being taken. I remember that I was put into the car before I was taken. I remember the blonde-haired woman came to the bedroom. She wrapped my head like that, you know.
You believe that Kate and Jerry are your birth parents then?
Yeah, this is what I believe.
Have you reached out to do a DNA test with Kate and Jerry?
Yeah, I asked them.
Have you had a DNA test done with the parents that have raised you?
No, they refused. The whole family refused. You will see that Madeline had the small scar on her right cheek, and I also have.
You have the same teardrop in the iris. I want to welcome you to my channel, everybody. This is Julia, and today we're going to talk about a subject which does divide people. I've got a series of questions for you, and it's your chance to you can expand on the answers, and you can go further into detail and give us any information or let us know anything that you would like to share with us to get more of an understanding of where you're coming from. When did you first hear about the Madeleine McCann case?
It was in May 2022. Some people said in the past that because I joined some Facebook groups before I came out on Instagram with my story, they said that, oh, you knew about Madeleine McCann case before you started to talk about this. But for me, it's obvious that first thing I wanted to do, I wanted to contact the police, right? It wasn't like that I found out about the case and I went to the social media immediately. No, that's not the case. I contacted the police first, Operation Grange, some organizations that help missing people. But when it wasn't enough, they didn't want to help me. Then I decided to go with my story on social media.
Okay, so you went to the police first. That's something that's quite important, because there may be people out there that just think you went straight to social media.
No, and this is first I contacted the police of Rushing Grange. As I said, some people who I thought they might be helpful for me.
Yeah.
But they weren't.
These are important things then to get across. I like to give every opportunity to my guests to give all the information. So some people might not know that you actually went to the police. So that's important to know, because there'll be some people out there that think she just went on social media to grab attention or whatever. But you actually went to the police.
And I called the British police back to the time, and I called the Operation Grange because back to the time, the number of Operation Grange was published on the internet. I guess it was on Find Madeline website, but now it doesn't work. I mean, this number doesn't work.
What are your earliest memories then? I think that's quite important to know.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so about memories is a very stressful story, and I published some of my memories on my Instagram last days. I tried to talk about them on Sean's channel, but it was hard as well. But okay, I'll try to say what is my earliest memory. It's a positive memory. So the earliest memory is from the garden when I played with a few other kids. We were holding our hands and we were playing the game called Ringa Ringa Roses. And then we played with, like, I don't know, like how to say, like we throw the ball to each other. I know if I said it well, because I know the word. Okay, great. Okay, and I remember.
English is very good.
Great. Okay, but I don't know some words. That's why I asked.
You're doing good. Don't worry.
Okay, and it was a moment when the ball, like left the garden, like went out from the garden, and it was outside the garden. And I went to the blonde-haired woman and the man who was shouting at her.
How old were you with your earliest memory?
I don't know, but I guess I was a few years old. I guess because this game, Ringa Ringa Roses, is for like little kids, right? And the other kids were little kids, so.
Do you think this was like after 3 years old or before?
I think it was before my memory of being taken. That's what I can say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. Well, that leads
And I
on
have to say something first before you will like go further.
Yeah, of course.
Last year, in February 2023, when I came out on my Instagram with my story, I didn't remember almost anything back to the time, and I need to make this point because since October 2023, so many months later, I started getting flashbacks, and the flashbacks, and it was in the time when I did some relaxations. I was relaxing my body, I was listening like relaxing music, and it was like the time before memory started coming again to me, and they all came in many pieces. So it's not like that one day all memories in one place in a good sequence came to me. They were all coming like in pieces and not in one day. It took a long time to bring some memories back.
Why do you believe that you are Madeline McCann?
Okay, so I will say first why I believed last year and why I believe now, because many things changed because I know more, you know. So last year, not last year, May 2022. It was the first time when I first thought that I may be Madeline McCann, and it was because, well, I was thinking when I was doing therapy in 2021, I was thinking that it's very weird that consequences of my abuse are as huge as they were, and it was something that I couldn't understand. And I would prefer to not go into details regarding the consequences of what I experienced, of my experiences. I asked my parents, why can't I remember anything? Why why did why did my mother go to the police station to report what this person did to me? So I asked my mother, why did she allow my grandma and her husband who abused me, why did she allow them to take me for a few hours trip to another city where my dad lives? And she said, because she said first, she said that she didn't. Then when I asked again on the other time, she said that she thought that her mother, my grandma, that I would be safe with her. But how could I be safe with her if I told my mom that my grandma didn't allow me to tell anyone about what happened, and my mother knew about it? So how could she let me go with them? This is something I couldn't understand back to the time in 2021. And all questions about my identity started in the moment when I realized that no parent should act like my parents behave. And all started there, but it was a time when I was in high school, and we had me and other classmates. We had a lesson about biology lesson about DNA.
Okay.
Genetics and blah blah, you know. and the woman, our teacher, said something that when parents have brown eyes, there is very very little chance that the child would have blue or green eyes. So, and it was the first time when I had like a red lamp in my head. I don't know how to say it, but when I first realized that something is weird, but I didn't do anything with that. I just let this thought go away, because how can my parents not be my parents? It's weird, you know?
Yeah.
So I lived my life. And in 2021, in February actually, when I asked my mother so many questions, she just cut me off from therapy that she paid for. So just without a reason, she said it's not helpful, but it was very helpful. I felt much better. And after she cut me off from therapy, 2 weeks later, she accused me of a very serious crime. I came back home. I think it's important. I came back home And she and her husband, they were sitting on the next to the table, and she told me, "Come to us, show me your bank account." So I was like, "Why?" The first question, "Why?"
Yeah.
And she said, "I want to see something." So I showed her my bank account, and she said to her husband, "It's nothing there." And I said, "But what are you talking about?" And she said, she accused me of stealing large amount of money from an old person. And the most important thing is that it was in 2021, 2 weeks after she cut me off from therapy. And even more important is that police never contacted me in this case. They never took my statement. They never contacted me. They never asked me if I can come to give them like more information. Nothing. So I wonder why. And I think it's important because it was after I started giving questions to my mother. So that's why I think she wanted to make me feel worse. She wanted to, this is what I assume, that she wanted to make me feel worse because she got me from therapy because I was giving questions. But okay, it's long subject. So yeah, I just wanted to mention it because I think accusing someone of doing something, like my mother, without even police intervention, like police never contacted me, is quite odd. After I started giving questions, because of therapy, I realized that no parents should act like that, and then I started to think that maybe I'm adopted. So the first question I asked myself wasn't that I was abducted. I asked myself if I was adopted. So I called the, I don't know how it's in English, but the like a government institution that has registrations of people, like you can get your birth certificate there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I called them because it wasn't in my city where I lived then. It was in a different city. And I called them because it was too far from me, so I wanted to first call them. And the woman told me, without like checking who I am, without any verification, she told me, "Your parents are your parents. You weren't adopted." So I was quite surprised, not because she said my parents are my parents, but because she didn't check me in any way, and she told me private information through the phone without checking who I am. So it was the reason I knew that it's probably not worth it to get birth certificate because it might be forged. Like, it was the moment when I realized it might be the case. So when I found out that, okay, according to this woman, I'm not adopted, I was thinking, okay, so maybe should I look for something else, like look into another place, if you know what I mean. And it was a day when I asked my dad for the phone call. I asked him if my abuser had another victims. And my dad first didn't want to tell me, and then he said that he was involved, I mean, not my father, that my abuser was involved in kidnappings. I very, very regret, really regret that I didn't record this, but I didn't have possibility to record the calls back to the time. Now I have. Yeah, and my grandma, in the similar timeline, my grandma from my father's side, I asked her why my life looks like that, like why I have such large consequences of abusive. I mean, you know, I asked her this question, that why I feel so bad. It was the time when I was really, really depressed, and I couldn't find a purpose in my life, I would say. Now I'm fine. It was the time when I felt really bad, so I asked for help. And yeah, I will go back to this. But okay, I want to say that my grandma told me that she thinks that my mother and her mother, which means my mother and my grandma from mother's side. So my grandma from that side thinks that my mother and my mother's mother knew that I will be abused before it actually happened. And it was the moment when I realized, okay, something is wrong. I asked my grandma if she thinks that my mother could get money for giving me to abuse. I asked this question straightly. I actually don't remember what she answered me. Sorry.
When does the thought start coming to you that you think
Okay,
that
so
you're this missing girl, Madeline McCann?
okay, so it was in May 2022. Because of all these things that I talked about before, in May 2022, I looked at databases of missing kids online. I was trying to find a child that fits to my, like, that
Description.
looks similar to me, that fits to my age, because the age is important. So I gave like a 2-3 years gap, because I don't believe that abductors check children's passports or like birth certificates to check what exactly day they were born. You know what I mean? It's not possible that they check it, I think. So I knew that it can be some 2 years or 3 years or 1 year difference between the age of abducted child and me. And I found Madeline. And it wouldn't be even very odd if my abuser wouldn't look like the person from, similar to the person from pencil drawing, police pencil drawing, number
Yeah.
4B. And it was really interesting. And then I was trying to get my like childhood pictures from my parents, birth certificate, DNA, and everything started there, and they refused.
Have you not seen a birth certificate then?
Actually, about the, when it was like a few months ago, I decided to apply for the government page for my birth certificate, and I got it. But I have to say that Poland, country where I would live, Poland joined EU in 2004 or 2003. And I'm talking about this because it's important regarding the birth certificate, because as far as I know, from what I read, from what I found out, all birth certificates that were created before the time when Poland joined EU didn't have any securities.
Okay.
So it was easier to forge birth certificate from like the years before 2004 or 3 than after Poland joined EU. And also my birth certificate is not, it's like a copy, but it's still, it doesn't have some things that like some how to say it, like some birth certificates can have some like pictures, like signs, something on it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And some things are different, but yeah, well, I'm still think that it's possible to forge. It's also possible for abductors probably to get a birth certificate of a child that was actually lived before but died, for example. I guess there are many options to get a birth certificate for someone who is professional abductor, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's possible, and I know it sounds weird, but I believe anything is possible. When someone is very, very bad person who hurt, abuse other people or children, these people have money, I guess, a lot of money. So when someone has money, they have power.
Yeah,
This is what I think.
well, that is very true. And when was that first moment? Was there a moment when you, like you said, you looked through a database of missing children and stuff like that? When was the moment that you actually started to think that you were the missing girl, Madeline McCann? You have the same teardrop in the iris, don't you?
Not the same, but it's very, very similar, and it's faded. I always said that it doesn't look the same, but I always also said that Kate and Jerry, in their interview with Piers Morgan, Jerry said that he doesn't think it's coloboma because Piers Morgan asked him for that, and they said that they think it's just a mark on her eye. And also, not on every single picture of Madeline this mark is so visible as on the most famous picture of her. If we will like look at the difference, the coloboma and just the mark, the coloboma probably cannot fade in any way, cannot be changed in any way from what I read. But the mark, the mark can change. The mark can fade. if you look at this, if you read about this, it is possible because
Okay,
they keep
that's
alive.
I was just going to say that's interesting then to know if that very what's the word it's the word's distinctive.
Mhm.
So the very distinctive mark on the iris that falls, if it's something that can fade and change.
Coloboma wouldn't fade, but if it's just a mark, anything can fade. Like anything can change. Like when you have,
Right.
for example, when you have a birthmark that is big, like on body, like a brown birthmark, for example, or black, whatever. It's I don't know, but I guess it wouldn't change too much because it's like a birthmark. But if you have moles, like on your face or body, it can move when you grow up, when you like slimmer, bigger, it can move in your body. But when it's about eyes, I read that coloboma wouldn't be changed, but when it's just a mark, just a different coloration of something like in the eye, I don't know how to explain it, it can be faded.
You believe that Kate and Jerry are your birth parents then?
Yeah, this is what I believe. And the behavior they present, actually they present no behavior, no actions, no conversation, no contact. It only make it look more serious, I guess. Because if my child would be missing, I'm not a mother, but if my child would be missing, I would check every single girl, and they never wanted to check me, I guess, do the DNA test, or maybe they cannot, I don't know. My question is, why did they, for example, why did they not attend on a vigil, Madeleine's disappearance anniversary this year? I was there. I saw them. My friends saw them. They were driving along the street next to the church, and all mainstream media reported that they went on holidays, which is not true because we saw them 15 minutes before or 10 minutes before the vigil started. Why did they? It was the first time when they didn't come on the anniversary. My first question is why. The other question I have is why. I called them, probably you know about it.
Have you've
I
spoken to Kate and Jerry?
I called Kate's number. I called, and once Kate answered the call, and she said only hello, and she hung up when I asked her if she could do the test with me. And the second time I called her, Jerry answered the call. He was kind in the beginning, and then when he heard my voice, he said that I called the wrong number. That I must have called the wrong number. And then the main question I have here is, why would they? Why have they not still reported me? If it's annoying for them, if they think that I'm destroying somehow their names or the name of Madeleine or their family, why have they not reported me to the police? Why have they never told me to stop, to leave them away, or whatever? Why has David Payne not blocked my number? Why does he still read my messages I sent to him? Why did he speak with me 3 minutes and he sounded like he was so sad and sorry? And yeah, my main question is like, Ken and Jerry, they didn't do anything to make my situation worse. So they aren't helpful, but they also, I don't know, if I would be just a stranger, like imagine that someone is talking about you, your family, saying that you think that you might be a missing child, that the child of these people, and imagine that you are a total stranger for them, right? So the normal reaction would be to say, leave me alone. I don't want to speak with you, leave me alone. Or otherwise I will report you to the police. They never done this.
Some people believe that Madeline died, and some people believe that she is still missing to this day. Kate and Jerry protest that they are looking for Madeline to this day. Why do you think they've not been cooperative with yourself?
Because they knew what happened. This is my opinion. They exactly know where's Madeline, in my opinion. I have to say in my opinion, because I cannot present it as a fact. Yeah, and about theory of people who say Madeline is dead, I will say like that. If Madeline is dead, it would be very beneficial for Ken and Jerry and police to do DNA tests with me, because they say they still look for Madeline, right? And
Yeah.
if Madeline is dead, they probably want to still get funds, right? Because it's like money laundering for me. It looks like that. But so it would be beneficial. They would show to people that they still investigate the case, and they would get more money. And it would be no match. If Madeline is dead, it would be no match between my DNA and Kay and Jerry's DNA. So why is it so hard for them to do this? If it would be beneficial, they would exactly show to people who pay taxes to pay for this case that they investigate.
Are you thinking that they don't want to do the DNA test
Yeah.
because it may connect you to them, and then that would
I
stop
mean, the
that would
only
stop the
reason.
money? Do you think that would stop the money?
Yeah, I think it would stop the money.
So you think that they are more interested in the money that comes in for the search for Madeline fund than
Yeah, I'm thinking about this.
actually finding Madeline?
If they will find Madeline, and it will be made in public, it will be announced in public, money will be stopped.
Wow, so that's quite a big it's quite a big statement.
I mean, this is what I think, right? It's my opinion.
Of course,
Okay?
it's your opinion, and everything is. It's your thoughts, it's your views, it's how you feel inside, and I respect your opinion. I respect everybody's
But
opinion.
I have to also say, I will add something to that. Madeline's funds, we have to remember that it's not only Ken and Jerry's, because police, this is what I think, is for police investigation. So police is very important when it's about these funds, I guess. I believe it's money laundering. I personally think the money will stop, but I don't know how to say it. I don't know who exactly get this money, right? So we don't know who to blame. I also think that there is another side of the story. We all know that it's a very high profile case, big case, and someone can be in control over the people who are like connected to the case. I don't know, like the other thought that I have is that I still think, I didn't change my statement, I still think that it's money laundering and money would stop, money will be found. But I also think that Ken and Jerry could have been threatened somehow as well.
So the parents that have raised you, your Polish parents, which obviously you doubt are your real parents.
Yeah, of course.
Have you had a DNA test done with the parents that have raised you?
No, they refused. The whole family refused. And basically, I said, I don't know which part on Sean's channel, but I said that my mother said that we can think about DNA. And after she said this, not a long time later, she stopped talking to me. She stopped answering my calls, my messages. So I don't know why she said we can think about DNA. But also, I think that if my parents would be my parents, real parents, they would never allow me to go to social media, speak about my thoughts and my story. They would never allow me to go with this American woman to unknown, with unknown name woman to the country that I don't know. And they would do this DNA test to put my mind in a peace and to help me and to save me somehow, because Via Johansson, she did large damage to my name, to me, and yeah, she wasn't a normal person, I would say.
That's very interesting to know that. So the parents that have raised you, just to confirm, they have refused to do a DNA test with yourself.
Yes, but they claim I'm their daughter, but they refuse to do DNA test.
So if they wanted to just like stop what you're saying and stop what you're claiming, they could quite easily just do a DNA test with yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
To prove that you're their daughter, and they won't do that.
No, because they say that they don't have to because they know I'm their child, which is quite funny because they lie.
I can see it from their side, but then I can also see it from the side of yourself. But another side is the Madeline case itself from 2007 has been huge up until the present day. Your revelations have been really big. I know you've been on like Dr. Phil, and you know, which is huge in America. Sean Atwood. If the parents who say that they're your parents, that you're Polish, the Polish parents, if they wanted to put an end to everything, they could easily just do the DNA test quite easily, and they won't do that. Now that's very interesting. So do you think that the parents that raised you, that's how I'm just going to have to refer to them, as the parents that raised you, do you think that they're lying to you then?
Yeah.
How is your relationship with them? If you're declaring that you think that they're lying, what is your relationship like with them?
So with my mother, I have no relationship with her actually.
Wow.
When I was younger, we always argued. Her husband was aggressive to me. She didn't do anything to stop him. So basically, we didn't talk too much, even when I lived with her. I moved out from her house because she and her husband, they were very rude to me, and they knew how bad I felt back to the time, but they made everything to make me move out. So they didn't kick me off, but they made everything to make me move out. So I moved out without any money, anything to do, any work. But I just went to, I had a deal with a woman from her stable. I will take care of horses of her horse stable, and I will have a small room to live. So I worked many hours every single day to just have a place to sleep. Yeah, and my mother, yeah, so I had no relationship with her. And with my dad, I always wanted to defend him in front of everyone, but actually I could never count on him. I could, like, when I had some problems or I felt bad, he always turned back to me. Like, he didn't want to speak. He was silent. He was quiet. He didn't respond to my messages. And now we don't talk too much. Actually, we don't talk. I have a contact with his wife because he left her, and with my little half sister. So that's all. I'm not in touch with anyone else from my family.
That's a shame. That's a real shame. Do you know, going back to the birth certificate that did you say you got it recently? Was it
like a few months ago? Because I had to do this because I went to police station. I reported the case. They started their pre-investigation, but they didn't do anything. I got access to court prosecutors' files. They didn't do anything, really. And yeah, and I had to get this for them, but they even didn't check if it's original, so they didn't do anything.
What year does it say you were born? Just the year?
The same day, the same year, the same month.
As Madeline?
No, as me.
No, yeah. So what I'm saying,
but I also have to say that, yeah, it's important. My dad, before we stopped talking, so mostly last year and the beginning of this year, he was telling me many weird things, but he was making it like not very obvious, like something between the lines, if you know what I mean. So, for example, in October last year, when I met with him, we were in touch back at the time. He said to me, "I hope you don't think that we drowned our first child and bought you from Ken and Jerry McCann," which is a very, very odd joke. My dad was never into this kind of humor. He never liked this kind of jokes. He never
Wow.
made this kind of joke, so it was just very weird.
That is very strange.
Yeah,
What year does your birth certificate, out of curiosity, what year does it say you were born?
the same as mine.
What's that? What
2001.
it says 2001.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm just looking at
2003. Madeline was born.
yeah, it
So
was
it's 2 years difference.
12th of May 2003.
That's true.
Your birth certificate says 2001.
Yeah.
I'm very shocked, by the way, still that your Polish parents refused to do a DNA test. I wasn't aware of that. Something that I've not thought about, which might help with this, is so obviously Madeline went missing when she was like 3 years old. Have you got?
Actually, a few days after abduction, Madeline was 4.
Oh, so 12. She
She
went
was missing
missing,
in 3rd May,
and
and
the
she had
12th
birthday
of
in
May.
12th.
Yeah, so she was just okay. So she was nearly 4. Have you got any photographs of when you were 4, 5, or 6?
So I have some pictures of when I was a child, young child, and in my opinion, of former police officer, British police officer Gary Waterman, and in opinion of many other people, I look like very, very similar.
So how much? We mentioned it earlier, but how much conversation have you actually had with Kate and Jerry? Have you met them? And
No, I've never met them. Only this time when I saw them in their car. That's what I mentioned before.
at the vigil.
Before the vigil, yeah. So, but I saw them. I wasn't next to them, Yeah. But that's why I said it's weird they still haven't reported me, because I called them so many times. I left the voicemails a lot of times. So if they would like to, they would be able to probably report me, and they haven't done this. And my question is, why? Why would you not report a person who you think is a stranger if this person calls you? Or why would you not change your number?
Do you think that they think that you're Madeline?
It's a,
It's just your opinion, that's all.
yeah. Okay. So what I think, I have to say, I think my opinion. Of course, I think they know who I am, and I think they think I'm Madeline. This is what I think, and because of what I mentioned before, the money, the potential threats for them. I think that we have to remember how big this case is, how many high-profile people are involved, how much money are involved. It's everything it's all important, And I think they know. If they would think that I'm just a stranger, so I mentioned before, they would report me, they would police, they would change the number, but they would speak in public. They would say something like, Julia is destroying our missing child's name. She has to stop. We need your help, whatever. Or they will take me to court like they did with Amaral, Gonzalo. They've never done this, and it's just weird. If they think or they know I'm Madeline, they would definitely not make my situation worse. They wouldn't speak out to say bad things about me. They wouldn't take me to court. They wouldn't report me, and they wouldn't change their number if they know I'm her. If they know I'm not her, then they would report me. They would change their number. They would speak in public to tell people that I'm crazy or whatever, like media did. Why are they so quiet? I think this might be the answer.
Have you reached out to do a DNA test with Kate and Jerry?
Yeah, I asked them.
Have you asked them? So going back to when how much communication have you had with them? Have you asked them actually on the phone? Have you said?
Yeah, I asked Kate. Answered the call. She said hello. I said, could you please do DNA test with me? And she hung up.
She hung up. Now that could be that there could be a number of reasons for that. Now, either there's a few options here. Now, A is that they know that Madeleine is dead, so they think it's pointless. Okay. Now, but they are protesting that Madeleine was abducted. Okay. If they've got a girl in yourself, Julia, who is saying, "I believe I'm Madeleine. I've got the marking in the eye.
And
I'm
on
of."
the whole body, I have all other marks on my body that Madeline also has.
If they are desperately looking for this missing child of theirs, they should be following up every single possible lead.
That's true.
And if you're turning up with them, with the markings, with your flashbacks, with your story,
I also
they
have the same scar. If you look closely on some of these pictures, or if you will change some contrast, shadows, lights, it's not retouching, it's just changing some parameters of pictures. You will see that Madeline had a small scar on her right cheek, and I also have.
very, very interesting. You would
And I also
think
will
that
send you this.
if this was me and my child was missing, and I protest that I have been searching all over the world, and I'm looking for Madeleine, and we're looking for Madeleine, and please keep donating to the search for Madeleine Fund. And then somebody came along of, could be, they're virtually the same age, then surely they would be like, right, let's do a DNA test. If they believe Madeleine is out there,
I think everyone would do this.
yeah,
Everyone
if they,
who is honest and who truly wants to find their child, they would do this. People who are involved in the case, like bad people, high-profile people, they might also be afraid of memories of a person who claims to be Madeline. I mean, me, because well, as I said to you probably before, I didn't speak out all of my memories on Sean's channel. Actually, I didn't speak out half of them even. I remember, for example, being in an underground place, seeing, and I recognized some people from there. Some people who are, how can I say it? Well known, I would say, from vile things, from bad things.
yeah.
I recognized a few faces of children because other kids were there. So the option C might say that, okay, if she remembers, we will go to jail.
Okay.
This is the option C, but it's connected to option B.
Yeah, it is.
Because
yeah.
if let's say like that, if when Madeline will be found, they may think that she doesn't remember, or that she remembers and they don't know. And it's important what Madeline would remember, right? For potential trial, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. This could very, very, very easily be answered and solved
Yeah,
just by one DNA test with
yeah, and
either you and Kate and or Jerry, or you and the parents that raised you
yeah.
in Poland. Are you saying that Kate and Jerry and your Polish parents, none of them will do a DNA test with you?
None of them did DNA test with me.
How do you think you got from Portugal on the 3rd of May 2007 to Poland with the parents that raised you? It's very interesting to know what you think there.
Okay, so what I think and what I remember is that I was okay. First, I think that it was planned. I think that people who were there, okay, I don't know how to say it, to not sell everything. Okay, so what I think is that if I am Madeline, Kate and Jerry knew what was going to happen, in my opinion. I remember, as I said on Sean's channel, I remember being taken. I remember being abused before being taken. And I remember I remember that I was put into the car. Yeah, I said this on Sean's channel, and you were very surprised.
No, because I don't watch everything on Sean. Sorry, Sean, because I know Sean will watch it. No, I don't watch every because
Okay, so you're surprised. Okay,
Sean's posting 1 million videos a day at the
yeah, I
moment.
know.
So,
I
sorry,
don't watch
Sean, I
everything
don't watch
either.
everything. So no, I am
Yeah,
surprised. Carry on, please. It's really interesting.
Okay. So I will. Okay, so I remember being abused before being taken by a man, and other people were in the room, and I remember that someone used something like a syringe to put something to me, my body. Injected, this is the word, inject something.
Yeah.
I remember that someone gave me through the window to a man who had, and I don't remember the face. I only remember that he had dark hair and that he was slim and tan skin. This man who took me. I remember that he took me diagonally. I don't know how to say it. To the car, diagonally to the car that was hidden a little bit later. A little bit farther. I remember that I couldn't move my body in any way. I couldn't say anything, but I was mindful what was happening, and I saw. I think it's important, the full moon. I published the memories on my Instagram, some of them, and I published that I saw the full moon, and people checked if there was a full moon then, and they said that there was. They showed me the pictures of moon phases. I said what I remember, and they checked it. And so because some people said to me after I described this memory, some people messaged me that, but how can you remember anything if you were injected? So as I said, I remember, but I don't think it was something to put me to like immediately to sleep. I think it was something to make me paralyzed, because I remember I couldn't move and shout. That's why I think it was more like paralyzing the body for some time.
Something to numb your body.
Yeah, this is what this is how I understand this. And also then I remember that he went with me diagonally, and in the moment I saw the full moon. And then I remember that I was in the car. He left me there. Car had gray and black seats. Car back seats, on the back seats.
Yeah.
And then I remember that I was in a, like, I don't know what was that, but something in my size, like a box or whatever. I don't know what was that. And then I don't remember anything. And then I remember being in the car that suddenly stopped on the road, and it was dark, and there was a lamp with small light. Yeah, and I don't remember nothing later. And then from the road, and only then and then I remember the memory when I was in the first basement.
In the basement?
It's not in underground place, but I call it basement. Yeah. It's easier for me to, but it's not like a basement under your house or whatever. And then I remember that I I don't like talking about my memories, sorry. Sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, but it's just, yeah. Okay, so
is it emotional for you?
Yeah, it is. There were other children. There were people who were hurting children, hurting me.
Shit.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, and answering. Okay, because you gave me a question, what I think happened. So I think that I was first option sold, or second option just given away because of some reason. I know the reason. And then I was in these places, and then I was with my parents who raised me. The first memory I have with my parents who raised me is basically in the car. My dad was driving the car. My mother was in the seat next to my dad, and I was in the back seat. And I remember I was crying a lot, and I wanted to, and I not wanted. I opened the door of the car during the drive because I wanted to go away. I was crying, and this is the first memory I have with them. And my dad, when I asked him last year if he remembers the day when I opened the door during the drive, he said, yeah, you were just naughty. I don't think that children open car doors during the drive just without the reason. They knew what was going to happen, in my opinion.
Why do you think that they made this plan then? What's in it for Kate and Jerry? What do you think is their motive behind it?
Because they did probably something wrong somehow.
Wow.
This is what I think.
This is interesting. When I interview people, my opinion isn't really that relevant because I will give anyone the chance to share their story. A lot of the things that you've said kind of they do make sense, and you're getting emotional. There's a lot of things that kind of they kind of made the ticking around my head now of like what could be the motive, why they don't want to do a DNA test, why your Polish parents don't want to do a DNA test. Did they do something wrong? And then Madeline, was the kind of the sacrifice, if you will. Yeah, it's absolutely it's unbelievable. I can tell you're quite emotional now. I didn't expect this.
I was thinking, should I talk about this? Because it's very like sensitive subject, and it was too hard to talk about this on Sean's channel. But I'm trying my best, really.
I think it's very, very. That is probably one of the most important parts, actually. I think because if you've got memory, which clearly brings back emotion, and trauma and sadness, and I can see it. Like it doesn't, it's that's real emotion. That if you've got memory of being taken from an apartment, being passed through a window, going into a car, going into underground, that is very, 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 very important. It's the most important, in fact. And
so I will say also that before I was taken, I remember the blonde-haired woman came to the bedroom. She rubbed my head like that, and she said she loves me, she'll find me. And I asked psychologist Dr. Becky, you know which one probably.
yeah, I think,
Dr. Becky's phone. Yeah, I asked her because we had like a few hours call before part 2 with Sean. I asked her if what she thinks. I mean, and she said it is very possible to remember what people said to me when I was a child, if the moment was very significant for me.
Yeah. You believe that was Kate saying bye to you, basically? Is that what you believe?
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Wow, that's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. Quite a story, and I very much appreciate that you have shared this with me, and the viewers. It's certainly made me think about things in a different way. I think it's going to make it will this will divide opinion. It always will, and I think you know that
Yes.
you know that better than most people. But I think it will make people think about it in a different way, look at it from a different angle. So thank you for sharing it. And one thing I'd like to say as well is I believe that you have got a petition that
Yes, but
you are trying to get signatures for. Can you? I'm going to put that petition.
yeah,
In
but
the
at this moment, petition is still being checked, so it's not available. We have to wait. I mean, you can share the link, but when you click the link, you see that 20 people signed the petition and it's now being reviewed, checked.
Oh,
So
okay, well, what we'll do then is you can explain if you explain the petition, what you are petitioning for. As soon as that petition is okayed and is allowed or whatever, then you let me know, and I will
okay,
put the petition link down in the description of this video so people can check back, and then if they want to sign a petition, then they can. So if you want to, before we give you a chance to say anything else that you want to say, if you can explain the petition and what you're petitioning for.
okay. So petition is to get DNA test with Ken and Jerry McCann because it was never done. So I'm just asking for DNA.
Yeah, simple as that.
Yeah.
That's what you want. You want a DNA test.
I'm just asking for the DNA test.
I'm on the thinking that it's not a big request. If they're thinking that you're like making this up or whatever it may be, if they wanted to just kind of shut you up, really, if they wanted to stop you making these claims and push you to the side and go, right, she's done, then they could do that DNA test.
Very fast, yeah.
Very fast, and then they could say, it came back negative, they could say, look, Julia is not our daughter, here's the proof, and then that's it. You would have no credibility then.
Exactly.
Or it would come back and it would show that you're Madeline McCann.
Exactly.
Now, are they frightened of the fact
and it's
that
very, very easy to do.
Do they know that it will come back that you're Madeline?
They might know.
That is something.
They definitely know more than we know. This is what I think.
What a story!
Yeah,
I mean,
let's.
I was going to say, what a fascinating chat I've had with you. It's really, really interesting. I got a lot more out of it personally to think about than I thought I would. As soon as this petition does get okayed or verified or whatever the word is, straight into the description. So everybody who's watching now, please check below in the description of the petition if you'd like to help Julia get the DNA test done with Kate and Jerry, and then this can be proven either way. So is there anything that you want to add that I haven't covered in my questions? Then the stage is yours, Julia.
Thank you. Okay. So I want to give some questions. Not for you, just for public, for people. Okay. Let's think about this again. If I am just Julia and not Kate and Jerry's daughter, let's think. Why would police officer from Operation Grange try to threaten me? Why would the whole mainstream media try to discredit me without a reason if I'm just Julia? Because mainstream media actually lied a lot. They twisted a lot of my words. They put a lot of lies there. They said the DNA was done. They say that Ken Jerry contacted me. They said many other things that were just pure lies. Why would police officer Mark from Pershing Range tell me that? I asked him a question, did you get results? Because they took my DNA, right? As I told you. And he first thing that he said was yes. When I asked for a copy, I said, can you give me a copy? Can you send me a copy? And he said, of what, sorry? And I said, of DNA results. And he said, we haven't tested, sorry, it's not being tested. So, yeah, I have a good memory because I listened to this call many times. But, yeah. So, why would he say yes, that he has results, and then saying, no, it's not being tested? Is it a professional behavior of police officer?
So the UK police took your DNA?
Yeah, on Charing Cross police station, but they never tested this, according to Mark from Operation Grange.
They didn't test you. They didn't test your DNA.
Yeah. So I don't know what is the purpose of taking my DNA without testing it.
But they would need to test it against Kate and Jerry's as well, wouldn't they?
Yeah, of course. I would like to speak with police and about my memories and about, like, for example, I remember being in the forest with a girl a little bit older than me. She was even not a little bit more older, just older. She was like maybe 12, maybe 13. I remember her face really well. And most of faces from my memories are not visible. I'm not able to recognize the person, but I recognize some people. I can describe some faces. And I remember that we were running in the forest, and she was trying to make me run faster. And I remember that there was someone chasing us in the forest, and I remember that she got hurt by, I don't know how it's English, like the stick with arrow at the end. now it looks like, I know that probably not many people talk about it online. It looked like children hunting for me, like hunting for kids, planned hunting for kids. Because then I remember that I don't remember faces of these two men, but I remember that one man, this stick with arrow hurt this girl, and she was hurt by that. And then the two men came to us. One man took me. One man was stayed with her. So I don't know what happened next. I don't remember anything else from the place, that day, whatever how it called. But I just think that we all should be more mindful, because world isn't like they present it to us. It's much worse, and trafficking is the real problem.
Mm-hmm.
I remember other kids from these places. It's just, and imagine that someone had to abduct these children, right? I'm not talking about myself only. Someone had to take them from somewhere. So it's big. And these people don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
It's obvious. They want to be free, like everyone would want. So if they don't want to go to prison, they don't want to be convicted, they don't want to have a trial in court, they would do anything they can to stop people like me, for example.
Yeah.
For me, it's very obvious that media were used to discredit me. American woman was used to discredit me, but my question is why? If I'm just Julia Vandal, what is the reason to discredit me? Yeah. What is the reason to not do the DNA test? What is the reason to put threats on me, to threaten me? What is the reason? Because it doesn't make sense.
I actually read that there was a DNA test done that proved you were Polish. Is that not true?
No, because I did I did my own 2 DNA tests after I came back to Poland. One of them was done under my real full name, and the second one was done under the fake full name. And the one done under the fake full name showed mix of many nationalities, including British and Irish.
Wow.
So I don't know what's going on with the DNA done by this American woman called Fia. But I know that the only DNA test that will confirm whether I am Madeline or not is DNA with Kate and Jerry McCann, or just with someone who belongs to their family, like Amelie, Sean.
Or with the Polish. If you did a DNA test with them and it showed that you weren't related to them, then obviously that proves that you're not their daughter.
Yeah, of course.
But
if they are willing to do, I'm open for that.
Yeah. The main test, the most important test, the most simple test is to do a DNA test with Kate or Jerry, or like you said, the other children of Kate and Jerry, and that would prove.
And also, sorry.
No, I was going to say.
And
that,
also,
that
there
was,
is another thing.
Or disprove it.
There is another thing. I sent my DNA to Polish lab because I paid for that. I wanted them to make my DNA profile.
Yeah.
DNA profile is always unique to one person. Only twins can have the same or very similar DNA profile. And I sent it to an expert from America. He's called Dr. Montemiller. You can check him. He basically didn't know who I am. I messaged him from a fake email without giving my full name or without connecting this to the McCann case. And he told me that I sent him my DNA profile and DNA profile from PJ files. If you know what's that, okay. And he compared my DNA profile with Madeleine's DNA profile, and he said that they match very well. He said that it's not a random connection. He also said that Madeleine's DNA profile, because I sent it to him, he said it's not DNA of one person, which is very, very interesting. I have this written. He wrote me that. He sent me that by email. He said that it's DNA of at least related people. So it's obvious for me that I cannot match 3 people in 100%, you know. But he said it's a connection. My DNA and her DNA is a connection like between parents and child or siblings. So I sent my DNA to Polish lab that made my DNA profile.
Okay.
It's like the unique markers that are used to identify the person, usually.
Okay.
Or body, or missing person, or yeah. So it's unique. And only twins can have similar, very similar, or even the same DNA profile. And Madeline McCann's DNA profile is published on the website McCann PJ Files. This is a website with Portuguese police files. And he, this DNA forensic DNA expert from USA, he's called Monte Miller. He compared my DNA profile. He analyzed data from my DNA profile and Madeline's DNA profile.
Right.
And he told me that the second DNA, I mean the Madeline's DNA profile, includes DNA of at least 3 people. And don't ask me how he knows it, because I don't know. He is an expert, not me. I don't have enough knowledge. I don't have any knowledge regarding this. So I don't know how he did it, but he analyzed the data. And he's a good, very good expert. You can check him. And he told me that my DNA profile match her DNA profile. I mean, these people's DNA profile very well. I said these people because she explained to me that Madeleine's DNA profile doesn't include only one person's DNA. He said it's DNA of at least 3 related people. And he said that my DNA profile matches this DNA profile as a parent and child or siblings. I spoke about it on Sean's channel, and some people said that, okay, so you're not Madeline, you're not matching this 100%. But my answer for that is, how can I match in 100% DNA of 3 people?
Yeah.
I cannot be 3 people in the same time.
I understand. Yeah, and yeah, like you said about the only if you're a twin can that happen. Yeah, Julia, it has been absolutely fascinating to talk to you. Thank you very much for sharing all that information with me. You got a bit emotional before, going back to those memories and whatnot. You've made me think about different things. I'm sure that the viewers, you know, their brains are going to start working now and start thinking maybe about this in a different way. So I think this has been very valuable. I've learned a lot. I think that the viewers have learned a lot, and I wish you luck with trying to prove or disprove either way whether you're who you believe you are, and hopefully this DNA test can get done. I will put this link for the petition when it's done in the description. To the viewers, please leave your comments below. Give your opinions, share your thoughts, but please don't be insulting down there. Share the video, like the video, and yeah, engage. Tell us what you think, and thank you once more to Julia and to everybody else. Peace out.